heading southbound. I've been hellbound, riding on the midnight train. Going too fast now, think I'll slow down, standing in the pouring rain.
What's going on, guys? Tristan and Tony here with the One Hell of a Life Outdoor Podcast. What's going on, son?
What's going on? Long day at work, but excited to be, talking about hunting. And we got a guest on tonight that knows a thing or two, because he's seen a thing or two with hunting in general, but also with bear hunting. So we're excited to talk about
bear hunting
in Georgia.
Bro, how many people talk about bear hunting in Georgia? Not a lot.
No.
And folks like this know how to win the game. So we're super excited, man. Tristan, give them the introduction.
Yeah, so tonight we have Dylan Beasley on the podcast, and fellow North Georgia resident, and I'm excited to have him on because I had put, basically, long story short, connected with on the Georgia bear hunting page or whatever, and I put out there, hey, I just wanted to see if anybody would want to come on the podcast and honestly teach us something about how to be successful with bow hunting bears on public land in particular. And Dylan's story immediately was interesting just because he had said it took him 3 years to finally be successful. So, Dylan, man, thank you for taking the time to come on tonight. And we're excited to just talk all kinds of hunting with you, but, and learn about the bear hunting too.
Yeah, absolutely, y'all. I appreciate y'all letting me come on and talk.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, man. I think our connection is beautiful in the sense of, one thing that, and the reason why I say that is that Tristan and I have always been so big about, just having raw following, with people that's like legit. Like, it's not a bunch of, I didn't buy a bunch of likes, or I didn't go out and buy however people.
Yeah, back in the day, you
circumvent
could get weird on Instagram.
Yeah, but we wanted it to just be real, and no better way for this to kind of circle around and then us with Dylan. And Tristan, you probably remember the story the best, but tell them how that kind of started.
Yeah, no, we were just talking, and I didn't know for sure, but we just kind of were talking off air, but we had been turkey hunting up in North Georgia at a WMA, and just happened that same day that I saw Dylan follow us on the $0-30 page, and I just followed back and saw it was North Georgia, and I'm like, oh, somebody's probably saw our truck, that's cool or whatever,
Yeah.
And didn't really, put two and two together, and then
I'm finally getting a return on that $28 decal investment.
Yeah. After like 3 years.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, it is kind of crazy how that worked out, and now we're here talking about bear hunting.
That's right. But man, Dylan, do us a favor, and for folks that don't know who you are and stuff, you kind of give us a little bit of background about who you are, personally, if you don't mind. You don't have to get deep dive into that, but who you are as a family man and what you do, and then how you got into hunting, and just kind of give us a full story on that.
Absolutely. Hunting's been something that has been in my family for a while. I grew up hunting, before I could even shoot a gun or sit alone. I was sitting with brothers or my dad. But yeah, I've always been around hunting. Deer's been the main thing. I grew up hunting deer, and it was, on properties, leases, you got bait out, and kind of, just deer hunting that way. But as I got older, that kind of gets boring, and there's lots of woods out there to explore. So just as I got older, got into different species, and bear happened to come across my sights. So anything I can target as far as hunting, I find an adventure in it. I like getting out in the woods. It's kind of a place for me to clear my head and kind of regroup and just do my thing. But yeah, I've got 2 young kids. I've got a son, Abel, he's 5, and my daughter Eva, she is 7. She'll be 8 next month.
Nice.
They've been out with me some. I'm trying to get them into it and get them hooked. But and they take a liking to it, but they're still young, so it's kind of tough, especially the public land thing, walking, dragging them around.
Sure.
But
how's your wife with it? And the reason why I ask it, I don't know if I've ever asked anybody this question, and the reason why I ask it, just to preface, is that my wife has never. I've been doing this since I was a kid, and my wife has nothing to do with it. Absolutely nothing.
Well, that's funny. Yeah, I do not have a wife. I'm
Okay.
I'm a single dad, so no conflict there.
Yep.
Kinda do what you want.
It works out.
That's great.
When I can work it out with the kids and get them out and going hunting, it really that tickles me, because I want to pass it on to them. And like I said, I enjoy the outdoors. I love getting in the woods. So I'm just hoping they can take a liking to it and feel the same things I feel.
Right. Yeah.
Well, who would you say was like instrumental in getting you into the outdoors? I mean, was it a family member or a friend or something you did on your own?
Yeah, my older brothers, hunting is, when I was younger, I'd cry, beg to go hunting. And I just couldn't do it. And like I said, as I got older, it happened. And really nobody in my family hunts turkey or bear or anything like that. So those things have kind of been self-taught, just kind of learn, go through the processes and, just learn, try to apply what you've learned next time and make it happen.
Sure. Yeah.
Yep.
No, that's awesome, man. And I think it's really great, getting the kids involved too. And you're just kind of like, I hope they take a liking to it, and if not, it is what it is.
Right. Yeah. Right.
But when it comes to, I guess, starting down the bear rabbit hole, and you were mentioning that you kind of wanted a different challenge and just wanted to, get out in the woods, and I totally feel you on that. What kind of I guess take us back to like the beginning, if you remember, like what kind of put it in your head? You're like, man, I think there's an opportunity to like get one of these, and I want to learn how to target this animal.
Specifically, I couldn't remember what did it, but I just North Georgia, getting up in the mountains and trying to find a deer.
Listen up, guys. Waterfowl season will be here before you know it, so book a hunt today. Williamson Outfitters offers exceptional duck hunting along Florida's Forgotten Coast, targeting redheads, bluebills, buffleheads, canvasbacks, and much, much more. Lodging and fishing packages are also available. Mention the One Hell of a Life podcast when booking and get 15% off your next trip. Spots are filling up fast, so call or text Captain Chris at 850-251-8650 or visit floridaducks.com.
Public land, mountains, deer are few and far between, and if you can find one, you can find a good one. But I found, I'd find myself finding a ton of bear sign, scat, markings on trees, stuff like that. And I, just kind of, I had a camera set up one time. This was about 4 years ago. I had a camera set up in an odd spot, heavy trail moving across the side of a ridge. And happened to catch a bear on it, and I was like, dang, never thought of that, and got to looking in the regulations. Pretty much, there's not much different than a deer.
Right. Right.
But so I set out. I sat that spot out for weeks, and kept getting them on camera later in the evenings, right after dark, and it was just it had me itching. So. I moved around a little bit, found a couple of areas that once I had found some bear sign and kind of got into it. I found other areas with sign, and I kind of started picking up on their, lost it, what they're eating, their diet, lots of acorns, other stuff, other nuts, berries. And some of that stuff kind of falls into like wrong time of year versus the season, but you can kind of hone in on their home range, which is huge. They'll travel 5-8 miles in a day.
Oh my god, I had no idea. That's huge, dude.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But it just, after seeing them on camera, right where I'm at, I was kind of like, well, I don't know many people that, have killed a bear with a bow. And I'm big on a bow, it's been a while since I've gun hunted, and I've bow hunted the last 6 seasons. So I'm strictly bow.
That's awesome.
But, yeah, I thought it would be cool to kill a bear with a bow. And, the first season was tough. Really didn't see anything in the woods on a sit.
I want you to keep going, but I was just curious. Do you are they similar to deer in the sense that typically, unless it's a rut or something, morning and evening, or do you hunt all day, or what does that look like?
Really, I've gone in early mornings trying to get to a spot, get set up, but I've kind of found that it seems that they don't get up and move around much until kind of later in the afternoon.
Okay.
Or, early afternoon. So I generally try to get in and get where I want to be around noon.
Okay.
1 o'clock at the latest. Their mating season is it's early. I believe it's in May. It starts around May and it lasts something like 2 months, possibly.
I gotcha.
So there's not really a sense of trying to catch them, like a deer in the rut.
Right.
But I just, going back, I just kind of try to focus on the food source, make sure water's close. And I've got this thing about me, it's probably not true, but I like to be somewhere around 2,800, 3,000 feet.
Okay.
Which takes some work sometimes, but do what you got to do. It's hunting.
Huh.
My second season, I actually had shot a bear, and embarrassingly, I made a bad shot on it.
That happens, man.
That's nothing embarrassing. That's a man to admit it.
Yeah, I'm bow hunting too. It happens.
Fortunately, I a fellow hunter had caught a video of a bear wounded not far from the area, so he did live, I believe, but that lit the fire under me. After I had laid eyes on a bear, shot at it, and tracked it downhill for probably a mile.
Oh,
but I for sure thought I'd find it. It was bleeding like crazy. They are resilient.
Wow.
But yeah, that was a heartbreak, I guess.
Oh yeah.
But that was after that, I kind of honed in on deer, and I knew the next season that I was going to go after a bear. So I spent a lot of my preseason and scouting time in the mountains, getting cameras set up, trying to find fresh sign, and trying to be up there as much as I could, watching the sign move, staying on top of them. And kind of a funny story. I'm wandering around one day. I come across, and I'll say this, I used Onyx a lot, but I come across an area that wasn't really defined as, a property line, private versus public. Stumbled across it, and it looked like it had been baited out of, like tremendously. Just wore out. And I had spent a lot of time hunting right there, not far from it. And once I found this, I kind of got on the phone with the game warden, kind of clear things up, make sure that, just kind of figure out what's going on. Is it private? Is it public? And what is this?
Right.
And he told me that it was it's private land, and they are known for baiting there. And I packed my stuff up. I actually sat that evening. This is funny. I sat that evening after talking with the game warden and saw a bear. Yeah. It's probably the greatest encounter other than the one I killed. Come right down the mountain, and it fell off in a drainage ditch and disappeared. But I packed my stuff up. I got my cameras out, and I left that area. I didn't like the thought of something attracting them there.
Sure. Well, and to not to derail too much, but that's the way I understand it. Like, the way so many people kill them is like you look up videos or information on it, and a lot of it is like baiting heavy. It's like, oh yeah, you just throw out like a drum of like donuts or what. Like, it seems like it's the way most people kill them is baiting. That's the way it seems like.
Right.
Which
I was told, I was told I could sit 200 yards. I can be 200 yards away from that
Mhm.
site and be just fine. But me, like I said, I've hunted deer over bait, and that's what I grew up kind of doing. And
Mhm.
so I really like the idea of getting out of public land and trying to find an animal, in its natural habitat, and not
Sure.
being drawn into some kind of bait.
Mhm.
But yeah, I packed my stuff up, got my cameras, and then I think it was probably within a couple days of that, I found a new spot. It's an old logging road, and I probably walked out it. And my intentions were just to scout, kind of get my cameras out and find some sign. And I walked probably 3/4 of a mile, maybe a mile, out this road, and found a good spot. I wanted to put the camera on some fresher sign, and made my way out. And it was getting late. I was making my way out, and I caught a glimpse of a bear, and it was it had to have been maybe 70 yards away,
Okay.
70 to 80 yards away, and the way the wind was perfect. I mean, it was coming from the bear right to me, and I had this little bend in the road with a laid over tree right in the bend, so I was able to see the bear from one side, get around the top of the tree on the road, and it put me at about 40 yards
Wow.
from the bear. So I sat there a minute, watched it. It didn't seem, I mean, it was feeding on white oaks acorns.
Mhm.
I just kind of took it in a minute, and my heart was pumping, racing. I took my book bag off, got everything down, got an arrow knocked up, and I crept up, got to about 30 yards, and if you ask my buddies, I told them that this bear had to be 400 pounds. But I was so worked up, and I got into about 30 yards, and right as I was settled and ready to draw back, I don't know what it was. I know she didn't smell me. Don't know what it was, but she raised up and took off probably 15 yards to my right. And when she did that, just seeing how big and how quick it was kind of that threw me to another level. For some reason, she turned around and moseyed right back to the window that I had, and I got drawn back and took the shot, and it was again not the greatest shot. I was shaking pretty good.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot's going on, man.
Well,
There's a lot.
and let's preface. I mean, I know enough about black bears that, the perfect shot you're going for, which is so hard to get sometimes, is that quarter and away shot because of the shoulder blade, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they've got a tremendously large shoulder blade.
So their legs they're bend the opposite of like a deer.
Yeah.
So good for climbing and stuff like that. But yeah, center mass. After the first bear that I had shot, I did a lot on shot placement and trying to figure out, what's best, and everything is just center mass. Center mass, they've got a little bit larger lungs, so
Okay.
you put.
Do you want coffee that doesn't suck? Get the Duck. Dirty Duck coffee is made specifically for the waterfowl enthusiast. Enjoy flavors like Morning Wood, Dark Dynasty, Cinnamon Teal Snickerdoodle, and First Flight to unlock the flavor that you'll enjoy in the blind for years to come. Our friends at Dirty Duck Coffee Company are now offering all Zero Duck 30 followers a 15% discount when you use code ZeroDuck15 on your next order.
An arrow center mass of the bear, it's gonna take it down. I happened to shoot a little far back, and funny enough, I knew it wasn't a good shot. She took off and ran about 20 yards further away and she put me at about 48 yards, 50 yards. And I shot again, And that time I knew that she was hit pretty good.
Oh man,
I gave it a minute.
You don't find
Yeah.
opportunities like that very often, you know.
No, I'm telling you, it happened so fast, and it was just, I mean, yeah, everything was so vivid. It was incredible. But I gave it a minute, you know, I settled down. I'm shaking like a leaf on a tree. Settled down a minute. I shoot a text to the boys, like, you know, I got one, I hit one.
Mm-hmm.
And it was probably about 10 minutes. I made my way down to where I made the first shot, and I found the arrow, and no, hardly any penetration. The broadhead was broke off.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, hardly any penetration. There's no blood up the arrow or on the fletchings. So I kind of got worried. I got real worried. But there was blood there immediately. So I walked down to second shot, and same scenario. Arrow broken a little further up, and no blood. I didn't get a pass through. No pass through at all.
Mm-hmm.
But 2 arrows in her. I was kind of hopeful, and got on the phone with the guys. Tried to round the boys up. And a little later before we could get everybody, but we got up there and did some tracking. You know, followed blood for a couple 100 yards, and kind of got discouraged. We lost it. We found one last spot where it looked like she had maybe sat down and licked her wounds a minute, but got discouraged. And
Sure.
I mean, I was about to, and I'm sure the guys were just, you know, ready to give up.
Mm-hmm.
And I jumped. The train's pretty steep, so I shot her as a pretty good decline, and then she ran down, and it was just a gradual decline. The last little blood spot we found was like right at the top of like a ledge, kind of a rock ledge. Mm-hmm. Not a ledge, but a pretty good drop, and I could just see that it looked like something had like barreled down through there. So I ran down there, and there was a broken poplar. It's broke probably about 40 foot up, and the whole top of the tree was laying right at the bottom of it.
What
in
the world?
I caught a glimpse of black fur, and I was like, here she is. You know, I got all excited, yelling, hollering, everybody come running down the mountain. But yeah, come to find out, I hit a femoral artery in her rear leg, which did the trick, I guess, you know.
Yeah.
But it was a thrill, man. I very proud of it, and thankful.
Yeah.
It was an adventure, and I kind of said that I did it, and I don't know that I would do it again. But I've already gone after it. I've seen a bear this past Sunday. Went up to another WMA, and a new spot, just kind of going in, trying to find something, and ended up seeing one. Couldn't make a move on it, but it's a thrill, man. After hunting deer my whole life, and turkey, I get fired up with turkeys too. But the bear was a good adventure. I enjoyed it, and just, you know, being how hard they are to get close to, and let alone kill. It was a good time.
Yeah. No, I mean it sounds like, you know, you kind of put your work in, and you, at the end of the day, it's like I always feel like sometimes things in the outdoors are just kind of meant to be, you know, because you look back on a story like that and you're just like, dude, like there's too many things that just have to align like perfect to, you know, you talk about the bear stopping again, and just, I mean, and finding it. Yeah. I mean, it's just, I think sometimes like when you put in the work, you're just kind of, I don't know if it's like how religious you are or whatever, but you know, I don't know if it's God, or I don't know if it's just some Native American like mojo or what, but I feel like there's something going on, you know.
Oh, there's definitely a mojo. All you gotta do is listen to The Doors, and he talks about Mr. Mojo Rising. All right.
But
I tell you, I just like, you know, I think I mentioned earlier, you know, just trying to put everything together, and when I'm in the woods, you know, my head is as clear as it can be, and I'm focused in on what's around me, what I'm seeing, and you know, I was fortunate to be able to watch deer do their thing, you know, and just kind of figure out how they work. And I wish I could see bear as often as I see deer, but
right.
You know, figuring out how the animals work and just what they do, and being able to cut in on that, I guess, is it's rewarding.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and it's funny, like, just thinking, you know, outside looking in before I heard your story, you know, I'm thinking it's not like out west, right, where you get open expanses of, like, you know, you might get into a whole canyon or whatever, I don't know, that's like open, you know, with like little spots of woods or whatever. It's the fact that you were able to essentially spot and stalk one in Georgia is insane. Like,
yeah. It wasn't too thick where I was. It wasn't real thick, but definitely steep. And you'll find patches of white oaks, you know, and if they're dropping, if they've got a good yield, you can probably count on catching deer or bear in the area for a period of time. And I just recently learned, you know, I've everything likes white oaks, but I've recently learned that bears really like hickory nuts. So
really,
yeah, and so that, you know, once the white oaks stop dropping, not as abundant, you'll find hickory patches with, you know, nuts chewed up, and sometimes, I mean, I've heard that you can hear them crunching on them, you know.
Huh.
But yeah, spot and stalk. It wasn't very thick where I was, and you know, kind of at the top of a ridge before it would drop off, and I had a water source on each side, of drainage that kept water on each side of the ridge that I was at. So I try to find saddles, and you know, a saddle with water on each side of it is usually kind of my go-to as far as finding a bear. And then, like I said, I like to get up pretty high, near 3,000 feet. I don't know that there's anything to that. That's just kind of, you know, I feel like you got to get up there to where, you know, other people or animals' pressure isn't going to be. But
yeah, no.
And I guess you got to be willing. You got to be willing to. I mean, I know you've already talked a little bit about this, but you know, so many times that when we look at let's say we're internet surfing a piece of public land for whatever type of game that you're hunting, you know, there's people that say, you know, there's no public land spot that's unknown.
That hasn't been seen.
That hasn't been seen, exactly. You know, and you know, there's strategies that I believe in that go both ways when it comes to that. You know, I've got a 155-inch split G2 buck here that was only killed because I did just the opposite, and I went right not far from where people parked. You know,
so the truck buck.
The truck buck, exactly.
And that was in Illinois, by the way.
And that was in Illinois, yeah.
Oh
yeah. And you're talking about a piece of a WMA property that could have 150 bow hunters signed into it. You know, so you know, you got to get creative with that. But you know, I would imagine it even is more important to find those isolated areas for a bear, just because they're so sensitive. They're number one. How big's their home range?
Home range is something like 15 miles.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like 15, 20 miles.
You stepped out for a second, Dad, but he was saying they'd go 5 to 8 miles in a day. They can, yeah.
Well, I mean, think about a cougar, for example, is 30 miles, or a bobcat.
Yeah,
you know, something like that, and that's crazy. That's bigger than most metropolitan areas. I mean, are some that you go to, you know.
I didn't know that about about cougars.
Yeah, that'd be equivalent of, if anybody knows St. Louis, that'd be equivalent of saying that my territory is everything inside St. Louis. That's stupid. I mean, that's crazy to think that they cover so much land, you know, but that's got to make them ultra hard to hunt, I would imagine, just because of that. Or, you know, are there some strategies out there for, you know, how do bears react to hunting pressure? Do they tend to just go where they're not getting hunted, or do they get pushed around a little bit like waterfowl? You know, you shoot them over here, they land over there, type of thing.
Yeah, you know, I'm not sure. You know, I could say, I guess if a bear was constantly spooked, if he was consistently getting spooked in his area, he's probably going to change.
Like a big buck would.
Yeah, right. But, you know, I really don't know. I couldn't answer that. I would say, you know, just like a big buck, if they were consistently getting pressured or bumped, then they may move along. But, you know, 5 to 8 miles a day, 15-mile home range, they kind of, you know, they can kind of rotate, I would assume.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, getting away from pressure, that's, this past weekend, I went to a new piece of public land that I've never seen. First thing I did, you know, I would look at a lot of topographical maps, try to find that, you know, just look at the lay of the land and find a spot that animals are going to be moving through. And generally, you get up higher in the mountains, deer aren't moving, you know, real high up. They're staying where the path of least resistance, closest to the water. But, you know, so, I mean, I've spent a lot of hunts, you know, just hiking, going places, not seeing anything at all. But, yeah, I'll look at the topographical map, find the lay of the land that I like, and really try to, you know, if it's a perfect saddle, but there's a public trail or a roadway going near it, I just dismiss it. I try to find those places that are far away. I know, you know, I enjoy the workout, but, you know, I'd like to get away from the easiest access. That's anytime I look at any public land, my main thing is where can I get furthest from all public access? And, you know, it may mean falling off in a ravine. It may mean climbing a mountain 600 foot, you know, but I feel like that's key, you know, when animals aren't seeing people often, you know, I like to think that I may go somewhere where not public land that hasn't been seen, but get somewhere where people aren't consistently, you know, stomping around. Sure. And it's kind of, you know, you'll find deer too. But as far as bear, you know, I keep in mind that they can smell good, so I'm constantly keeping up with the wind and try to find springs or, you know, drainage ditches that are kind of keeping water. And then you find a food source near there, and I mean, they eat, you know, there's berries, any fruits, nuts, and grass. Springtime, you know, early season, you might be able to catch them near fields, you know, getting into the grass. They when the fields start popping green, if there's bear around, they're gonna be down in the fields. But yeah, I try to think outside the box. I like to think I think outside the box. Yeah. As far as pursuing them. And I've had a few encounters. I've had a lot of empty hunts, you know, a lot more empty hunts than encounters. But yeah, and I've mentioned it a couple times, but you just got to keep all that in mind and put it together and play the scenario right.
Yeah. No, and I think that's the kind of the interesting thing, you know, is just like the keeping at it and spending the time to really figure them out, which is like essentially the boat that I'm in right now, because I'm like, man, I'm kind of interested, like I want to kind of get into it, but yeah, it's just like you said. You gotta get out there, and nothing beats, being in the field, even if you. Because if you, like you said, you go to an area and you figure out they're not there, that's a win, So the more, more times you can do that, eventually it's going to work out,
Yeah, that's a good way to look at that. You cross that off the list, put it behind you and move on to the next.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I think, obviously there's no beating a bear's smell. Like, there's like a famous clip off of Meat Eater where they got like winded from a black bear by like 800 yards or something like that.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about? It's insane.
Incredible. That's most of the time, a bear is going to be gone before you ever see it. He's going to know you're there before you ever can see it.
Yeah.
And that's why, sometimes you can get right on a ridge and, the wind's blowing across the top of the ridge and you can just kind of, play you're hunting the upwind side, and just kind of make moves off that. But their nose, it's incredible. That's the one thing the main thing I keep in mind is wind direction.
Yeah.
When I'm trying to, if I've got a spot that I really like or a place, something looks good on a map, but the wind's not right, I won't even bother. Just because, they'll be, they'll know you're there before you ever see them.
Well, I guess part of that is also your entryway, right?
Right.
To the place you're going. You have to kind of do it in a fail-safe type of approach. The whole thing, we all know as deer hunters that there's those times that you just want to be out in the woods, man, and you're like, yeah, I know I'm sacrificing a little bit here by walking in, but maybe they'll come from a different direction tonight. Maybe I'm going to throw this whole thing off, which makes me think of something. And another one that I don't want to throw you a real big curveball here, but, and I want to just keep talking about, so many times I talk about my mom's accomplishments, with her record book bucks that she shot. But one of the things that she was a big believer in, and still to this day, is that whenever there's an east wind, that it screws everything up as far as the buck's pattern. And I'm talking Illinois. And the reason why I say that Illinois specific is the prevailing wind there is southwest. So whenever you have that, she swears that it kind of screws up their routine. And it kind of throws, and she just, every one of her bucks that she shot, and actually, to be honest with you, two of my biggest bucks were for sure an east wind. It throws off what their normal patterns are, is where I'm getting at. And so I'm curious if the same thing happens with a bear, or if its range is so big that they can just say, I don't really give a shit that's an east wind, and I've got 20 miles to go, so kiss my ass. You know what I mean? So I don't know how that works.
I don't know exactly.
What's your thought?
I'm not sure. But like you said, they can just kind of, I think that they can keep the wind in their favor and move along, where they feel that they're safe.
Right.
There's some...
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Any inclination of a threat to them, I think, they're going to move on quickly. Like we take that chance and go on in on the wrong winds, say, oh, they'll come another way. But, animals won't do that. They don't take chances. It's, life or death for them. And, so I think possible. I don't know for sure, but I think this is, like I said, I haven't been doing it long enough to really understand all that yet, but
well, that's the great thing about it. And I think that's what's great, and what I'm really pulling out of this, I want to highlight, and if you're listening to this, folks, is if you don't know a lot about it, this is a cool place to be for you if you don't know a lot about it. Mm-hmm. Because, sometimes, like, we want to jump straight to, I'll use, and I don't mean any shade on any manufacturers here, but let's just say, for example, Hoyt. Mm-hmm. Okay. you see it so much that if Hoyt said, this is the best way to shoot a bow, your brain tends to go to Hoyt. Okay.
Right.
Because you see it all the time. But if I put out a bow company called Killdeer, which is direct and to the point.
Yep.
All right. And I put out something that said, hey, I'm going to teach you everything about killing deer. People are probably going to still click on Hoyt. Do you know where I'm going with that?
Right. Yeah.
So where I'm going with this is sometimes you miss out on what you can learn on the ground rules of figuring it out. And everybody on this podcast would agree, and I don't mean just when I say everybody, not just us three. I'm saying all of us that have worked hard to harvest an animal, number one, it's taken a lot of hard work. Number two, there's been a learning process along the way. It's in the teens that morning, and maybe you're chasing ducks or geese. But now it's September, and it's 85 degrees, and you're hunting early teal or geese. As a waterfowler, you need dependable weather protection that will not break the bank. Founded in 1996, Frog Togs is not only the leader in breathable wader technology, but a company you can depend on to keep you warm and dry, head to toe, no matter your hunting environment. Stay bone dry by using discount code ZD315 for 15% off not only your first purchase, like most discount codes, but how about every single purchase you make from now until December 31st, 2024. And number three, hindsight's 2020. All right, so that's the best way to learn. Tristan and I were just talking about a work scenario today where if you're not the driver, you don't always remember where the hell you're going, right? If you're sitting in the passenger seat, you just all of a sudden go to the person that's been driving for 8 hours. You're like, you know what? It really didn't take that long. And they was like, well, because you were asleep 6 hours. You know what I mean? You just want to punch them in the face.
Well,
do you understand where I'm going with this?
Yeah, and to piggyback off that, I think that's kind of back to like why I thought it would be awesome to have you on, Dylan. Is like,
it's so innocent,
right? And there's
raw.
There's we could be talking to somebody that's killed 100 bears. I don't know. And then it's
but we wouldn't talk about these things.
That's exactly what you were saying. Just to piggyback, like that's what I thought.
If Cam Haynes was on here right now, I'd be like, bro, tell me about that time that you stabbed one in the heart or whatever. I mean,
yeah. Well, shit. What was I gonna say? I just think, I mean, from that aspect. Oh yeah, no, I think about your kind of mission with it, Dylan, or like the success you've had is it kind of puts it where it seems more accessible to the average person than like if we had somebody on here right now being like, oh yeah, this is how I've killed 100 bears. Like for you to be like doing it on public and then you just put in the time and then, ultimately
hit the ball. Hit the ball.
Yeah.
Hit the ball.
Ultimately, that's what it was.
Don't worry about your elbow. Don't worry about your stance. Hit the freaking ball.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I enjoy it. So getting out there and like I said, I just wanted to do it with a bow. I wanted to kill a bear with a bow. Not many people, have done it. And it's getting real popular. I've seen a lot about people.
Well, yeah, because there's a guy named Fred Bear. Okay. I mean, son of a bitch. I mean, this guy comes out of nowhere with a freaking round hat on and a dress shirt and just goes out and freaking kills bears, dude. I mean, and his name's Fred Bear. I mean, come on. How are you not excited? I mean, if you're not excited about hunting bear with a bow, then just go hunt rabbits. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, just getting out and doing it. And there's a lot. I mean, I don't know about every state, but there's a lot of public land, and especially in the Southeast. There's a lot of public land, and I mean, do your research, you get your license, read up on regulations, and just go out and do it. I feel like, hopefully one day I have killed 100 bear.
Right.
But, right now I'm teaching myself everything, and that kind of brings on the aspect of like, if you're driving or sitting in the passenger seat, I'm keeping up with everything that I'm seeing and trying to apply it because I want that trophy, that reward, rather than dragging somebody along and really you can't. I stay mobile. When it comes to bear, like I kind of stay on the move, and I hunt out of the saddle. So if I need to get up in a tree real quick, it's all right there on my back, and I can get up. But really, I stay mobile. I mean, if I just stay mobile, and I find and find, just trying to stay on top of stuff and figuring out as much as I can. And then when it works out, and it pays off a lot.
Hey, Dylan, not to take this to left field, but I am. So here's something wild, and I think I may have mentioned it on one other podcast, but I remember when the saddle came out, and it was. I remember specifically when it was, because it was the year after the year I got out of the Navy, and it was 1996. I went to the Deer and Turkey Classic, and this guy got up there around this tree. And if you're hearing this and it was you, bro, you want to talk about cutting your teeth. I mean, how this has taken so long to blow up and why it has. I mean, if you're a hunter, you're seeing saddles everywhere in your feeds. I mean, it's everywhere. It's just blowing up, man. And I love it because it's a whole new strategy in another way. And I think you make an incredible point there.
And you don't have to hang 7 different tree stands.
No, dude. Especially, you know.
And I can get up in a tree in, I mean, at most 15 minutes. That's set up, ready to draw back.
That's incredible. So, sometimes we forget about these, like, something like that. Like you just go set up a deer stand, right? Yeah. Well, what does that involve? Okay. And this whole saddle thing, it just blows my mind. And Dr. Buck that we have on here every once in a while, it's a buddy of ours, so we call him Dr. Buck because he's a doctor and he hunts big bucks. All right, so we coined him that. But he would remember too. He and I and his dad looked at each other and said, "That's the goofiest shit. You'll never get me up in that thing." I'm like, and because here's what the thought was. Is that what this guy is doing is not replicable. It's not like he can do it, but can I do it? And can Bill do it? That's 20 years older than me. And can this kid do it? Everybody could just go up a ladder stick or go up in the ladder stand. We can do that. But can we do that? You know what I mean? And applaud to that industry and whoever all those folks are that have those products, because I think it's just another strategy. I think deer hunters are capitalizing on it. And definitely you as a bow hunter are capitalizing on it just because of that. I wished I could have got up in the saddle. I mean, actually I could. I could get up in the saddle, but I don't think he'd be able to get my ass out. I think stuff would start locking up or whatever. So I can't physically go do it. But you younger folks, if you like that thing, man, do it.
It works. You just do it, same as everything we've been saying, just do it. You get the hang of it and it becomes it just happens.
I love the fact that you can flip over and be like it's like going ahead, like of those roller coasters whenever you're standing up.
You can make some funny shots. You can take some crazy shots out of it,
I mean, that's got to be kind of wild. You just kind of like float.
It is. It takes a bit. It takes a bit to get
trust
the
it.
Trust it, yeah. But and I didn't realize I've had my saddle for 3 seasons now, and I didn't realize how long before it had become popular, like you said, that people were using them. I had talked to people.
It's been around 30 years.
Yeah, like I've made my own saddle and this and that.
Wow.
Currently I use sticks, but there's all kinds of stuff. People are rappelling down, using one stick or not even using a stick. They just use an 8er.
Dude, I saw a guy from American Ninja Warrior that did a backflip into his tree stand.
Yeah, okay.
All right, well, it was in a different country, but it's fine. No, but seriously, man, I mean, you're right. It's getting very creative.
It is, and it's perfect. I mean, I think it's perfect. I could get a little bit lighter and eliminate my sticks, but like staying mobile and moving as much as I do. I got a backpack on. Sometimes I'm wearing my saddle as I walk.
Is there something? isn't there something kind of like physically testing about it too? As a younger guy, like you guys, you know, you're a little bit younger, and I would imagine that if I could do it, or if I wanted to do it, I would like, part of that would be like the physical challenge of it to me. I think that would just be like, I'm doing this, nobody else can do it. You know, not everybody can do it, but I can.
If you're hunting, I mean, if you climbing a ladder stand or even using a climber, I mean, if you're hunting, you can do it. You can get used to it. There's not much, I don't believe, you know, it could just be me, but I don't think there's much of a challenge to it. I mean, I'm very careful. I could probably be faster getting up and down, but I'm very careful. I like to make sure, you know, like my sticks are attached to the tree good. And I do take my time and I'm safe about it.
Do you put a tie line up above your sticks? Is that what it's called, Tristan?
Oh, I use one of those hunter safety systems, but the only problem is you got to go all the way up to tie it before you can utilize it.
Well, most of the time he has me go up there and risk my life. No, I'm just kidding.
If it's possible, I'll set my sticks. When I get to the tree, I'll pull my sticks out of my bag. Got my saddle on. I've got carabiner clips on my saddle that I can hook my stick. I use a Skeletor stick, so they stick together. And I'll have 2 sticks on each side of me. I'll put 1 stick on the tree, I'll climb up. Sometimes I'll use a lineman's rope. Sometimes I don't. This year I've been using it because it's been a little while since I've been in the saddle. But I get a stick on everything. My backpack's on. My sticks are hooked to my side, and as I get up, I pull another stick off, attach it to the tree, take a step up, move my lineman up, and then once I get up, I cam my platform in, and all I've got is the tether. I'll either take my lineman rope off of the saddle and put it away, or I'll loosen it and let it dangle.
Mm-hmm.
But really, I mean, that's what works for me. I've recently gotten my buddies into it, and they're all about the 1 stick and using the aiders and all that, and it works out. I mean, cut a lot of weight and get a little faster. But I just do what works for me.
Yeah.
You know, and over the years I've tweaked things and found different things that work. But once you get a process, once you get that routine, it's just a matter of finding the tree, you know?
Yeah, sure. I think from the strategic standpoint, like they say there was some stat that I heard one point about like your success, and it just seems like I felt that too. Like your success in hunting a spot like the first and second time is much higher, you know, and which makes sense. You know, you're disturbing an area more and more. So the fact that you're so able to do that and capitalize things with that system, just you know, it's pretty clutch, I think.
It works out, yeah.
With the bear, I gotta know, how did it taste?
Okay, yeah. So I told you, after I did it, I was kind of like, you know, I've done it. I don't know that I care to do it again. So I had a great processor. I took it to a processor up in North Georgia. They did a great job. Ton of meat, and I had a lot of ground, and I had some sausage made. Sausage was great. The ground was, you know, deer meat can be gamey.
Sure.
The bear meat was pretty gamey as far as the ground. Roast, back straps, and tenderloins were phenomenal. I even, you know, I doctored them up a little bit and did this and that, you know, make it good. But I cooked some backstrap with just a little bit of oil and butter, nothing else, one night, and it was very good. It instantly had me itching to get back out and find another one.
Oh man, that's a good good test, you know.
Yeah, it was. I'm sure you've heard it can be greasy, and it was. You know, it's definitely greasier than a deer, but I think, you know, I've talked to a lot of people. I've gotten a lot of insight on cooking it and cooking it good, right way. And it's honestly, I didn't mind it. I liked it. So, it's tough to say. I liked some of it. I liked some of it. I didn't. But the roast and like steak meat cuts and stuff like that was very good.
Now, I could be completely like making shit up, but do you have to like cook it all the way to a certain temperature because of like trichinosis or something, or am I thinking?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Now I don't know I don't know exactly what trichinosis is, but
I don't either.
I always made sure that it was very well cooked.
Okay, so you got to cook it basically through, pretty much.
Yeah, and which was crazy. The back straps cooked very well, but so tender and full of flavor, and good flavor. Not a gamey, greasy taste.
Mm.
So yeah, I am gonna get after another one hopefully this season.
That's awesome, man. Are you targeting deer at all, or are you just that's kind of your focus as the bear this season?
Deer, I've had right now bear. I've got a week planned in Illinois.
Oh, nice. What part?
Southern Illinois, near Vienna.
Mm-hmm.
The National Forest. I'll be hunting the National Forest.
Nice.
Okay. We're from originally Southern Illinois, actually. Like, he brought up St. Louis earlier, but that was like the closest big city to us. But yeah, not far from where you'll be.
Yeah, I've hunted up north with an outfitter past St. Louis, up in Adams and Brown County.
Yeah,
and Pike County.
So you're probably familiar with the Golden Triangle, huh?
The Golden Triangle, yeah.
So
hunting deer in Georgia my whole life. Going up there, it's incredible. They're bigger. They're just bigger.
It's truly incredible, and that's like when my dad was talking about earlier. There's a public land up there that our family's just. It's one of those deals, where the local boy knowledge is just you can't beat it, and it's. Yeah. I was fortunate enough to grow up hunting it with my dad and grandma, and her basically boyfriend at the time, and just learning that property and stuff. And there's 35, 40 years of knowledge out there hunting this incredible freaking 4 square mile area,
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Public land. And it's one of those deals that even today it's, now granted they've walked a lot so I could, walked a lot so I can run. But like if you go up there for a week and you hunt hard for a week, it's always stayed true. Somebody's shooting a good deer. And it's just amazing to have that opportunity up there, and it's cool.
Yes, it is. I was pretty fortunate. My brother invited me up, and he's been going up there for a few years. Invited me up to come. They've got some leases up there, but the public land's not far from it. So,
70 years ago, there wasn't a deer track in Illinois. Can you believe that?
Really?
Yeah, for real. For real. I mean, when I grew up bow hunting, you can only shoot one. I just posted something the other day of me. How old was I in that picture? I can't remember what I said. 17 or something.
Just before you went in the Navy or something?
No, I think I was 17. I shot that tall spike or whatever. And it's funny when I look at that picture, I'm like, dude, you can only take one deer. Then when I was posting it, and I was thinking how much that deer meant to me when I could only shoot one, let alone now in Illinois, you get $2, but you can shoot as many does as you want, bro. Just keep buying the tags.
Yeah.
Well, that's what's wild about I don't know if it's as many as you want, because
yes, it is.
Didn't we freak out about Georgia being like
no,
12?
You can shoot as many does as you want in Illinois if you buy the tags.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
But
I did not know that.
Yeah, let it rip, tater tip. Flathead season.
When I just remember when we moved to Georgia. So we're originally from Illinois, and then my dad moved us down when I was in high school to mom and dad moved us down to Jacksonville, Florida, and we were there for about 10 years. We've been in Georgia for going on 4 years in May. But shit, where was I going with that?
Does the contrast the difference?
Oh yeah, so when we were like, man, you could shoot 12 deer here, $2 and I think 12 does, right? Like
$2 and 10 does.
10 does, yeah. So 12 total. I'm like, dude,
there's in the day when we can only shoot one.
Well, hold up,
what we always heard?
Hold up.
You go down to Alabama when your season's over and shoot a deer a day. You can shoot a deer a day
That's
for the all season long. Shoot a deer a day.
There's been times like hunting where it doesn't matter where I'm hunting. It could be Illinois, but there's been times where if I could see 12 deer in a week, just 12, like if I could see one deer a day, like just see one, like that would be great. You know,
I had a season in Illinois when I was, let's see, it was the third year that I was hunting. So I was 14, and this one deer stand on public land, I averaged 17 deer a day, a set.
Seeing 17
17
yeah,
a set.
obviously. Yeah.
I saw 49 in a set, and it wasn't in a field; it was in a thicket.
Good Lord.
All right, there's a lot of people say, "Oh, I saw 150 deer stand." Yeah, but you know, you're sitting in Montana on the Milk River, and you can see 1,000 miles around you. All right, now I'm talking about in a thicket. I saw 49 deer one time, and I'll never top that. I know for sure. I saw 17 bucks, and 3 of them were shooters, and I took a shot at one, and of course I missed it. You know, but I remember telling my stepdad, I was like, "Look, dude, I could go to heaven right now." And he's like, "You're 14." You know, I was shooting a whitetail hunter too, and I mean, just a spring arrow rest and an XX75 and a bear razor head, you know, back then. But no, it's crazy that where Illinois has changed so much, man. And when it blew up, you know, there was at one point, and a lot of people don't know this either. There was at one point that there was 3 counties that there were more Pope and Young record books taken from those 3 counties in Illinois.
Well, that's you. I don't think you missed it, but he was saying.
Oh, and I went out to pee.
Yeah, he went out to an outfitter a couple of years ago in Pike Brown Adams County.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
They called it the Golden Triangle.
Yep.
Yeah.
And big shout out to Whitetail Properties, Dan Perez there, and those guys getting that started right there in the little office in Pike County. But you know, there were more record books in the Pope and Young record book in those 3 counties than the United States combined.
It's insane.
Is that not stupid?
Yeah.
I mean, so, you know, for us older folks, we've been shooting deer in Illinois a long time, but it wasn't much before that our fathers and stuff, they used to go out and you go back to deer camp and there might be 10 guys there. And I'm talking down in the Shawnee National Forest, down there where you're talking about. Yeah. And there might be 3 guys that were out there all day long with longbows that said they saw tracks. So I even saw a track. Can you imagine that? That's crazy.
I tell you, I spent a week there last season, and it was.
Was it only a week? Because I've spent a week in Illinois sometimes deer hunting. It felt like a month.
I wish it was a month. Gosh, I wish. The week I was there,
something magical.
Was a great. I mean, it was the time to be there. I saw 3 bucks for sure. I saw probably 8 different bucks, but 3 bucks. 3 of those were bigger than any deer that I've killed in Georgia.
Oh,
and yeah, it's incredible. They're just bigger, and like their response to people, pressure. It's just totally different. It was a different ball game for me for sure, being up there. Just the activity.
Sure.
You know, I've seen a ton of deer.
Yeah, it's one of those deals that like it's like my dad always jokes we need to make a T-shirt. Is all it takes is one hot doe, because it's like, I mean, literally it doesn't matter if you're on public land, you get a hot doe. I mean, it doesn't matter.
That was it.
No,
that was it.
That's what led me to the double split G2 buck I got that I talked about. We talked about being the truck buck, and what led me to that was an experience at least 15 years before, if you can imagine that. And I walked into this area, and I'm scouting it during the middle of the day, and I'm like, this is kind of close to where everybody parks, you know. But I was like, screw it, man. I'm just going to do something different. And I go walking in there, and man, here come small bucks just chasing the shit out of this doe all the way up. Our partners at Huntwise are offering an exclusive discount for Zero Duck 30 followers. As an elite member, some of the features you'll immediately gain access to are Huntcast, Windcast, peak kill times, property lines, owner information and phone lookup, 250 map layers, unlimited offline maps, 3D maps, social media, and on top of it all, Save up to 50% off some of the top hunting brands in the industry. Download and explore the #1 hunting tool set today and save 20% by using code DUCK30. Up and down a ridge, I'm talking, these ridges there aren't no joke. We're talking 300 to 500 foot elevation change.
Yeah.
And
Well,
like,
it might be a joke to 3,000 foot bear hunter here.
no, but I'm
No.
saying this shit's straight up.
Yeah, no, I'm just playing.
Yeah, straight up. And I saw that, and as a younger guy, I thought, well, this is where you got to be.
Mhm.
Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit about runs, trails? No, it doesn't matter. Tracks. This is where you got to be.
Right.
She's hot, so I just went down there and set up a deer stand. Well, wouldn't you know that night there was snow on the ground at the time, but that night, it got down into the teens, and that snow went from an easy sneak in snow to I can't. Dude, you can't take pans and bang them together that loud. I mean, I got out of the truck and I thought, oh my God, dude. So I remember thinking as a young guy, I was like, well, I'm going there. So the most important thing I can do right now is not sound like a hunter walking through the woods. So I literally took a 15-minute walk into an hour walk. Yeah. And I would sometimes look like I won't say the word, a fairy. I look like a fairy, and I would just hop real quick through the woods like a fairy would. With that votes for,
that would have been great for video.
Yeah, the fairy vote, the fairy votes for those, Kamalas.
Yeah.
But anyway, I would look like that sometimes, and then sometimes I look like the deadliest sumbitch ever. And I took my time, dude. And I remember walking down that ridge, and Tristan, you know this ridge well. And I walked all the way. I mean, it was probably 400 or 500 yards at a, good Lord. What's steeper than 45? It'd been 22. 20, in Georgia terms, we'd call that a 22. And I took so long getting my deer stand, and I get in the stand, and I'm like, dude, I've screwed this all up, and the sun's just starting to come up. And I got I don't think I was even wearing safety belts then. And I got everything ready. And what I won't forget is I was shooting a bow that had the traditional peep sight on it, that had the rubber band that you split your string. And I kept pulling my bow back. And keep in mind, there's about 2 to 4 inches of snow on the ground. So that's helping give me some light. I keep pulling back going, I can't shoot yet. All of a sudden, I hear
heavy steps.
And bro, I almost quit deer hunting over this deer. The most gigantic deer. I've sent Tristan and these guys pictures sometimes, and I said, this is the only thing that compares this thing. The mass was something you've never seen. The frame, this deer was so gigantic in body and everything. It just was a different creature. I'll never, ever in my life probably ever see something like that again. And I look 75 yards away from me in a draw, and how he got from wherever the hell he was, or maybe he was bedded down in that steep little ravine, but all of a sudden he's there. And I'm like, there he is. And I'm watching him across the creek. He comes across there, and I knew it was 22-yard shot. And at this time, I only used one pin and stuff. And I saw him there, but it was in my brain. My stepdad just drilled my brain that you always wait for your best shot. And I knew that if he took that 22-yard run, the way the wind was going from him to me, he's going to drop down in the creek, and I'll shoot him right here at 13, 14 yards. So why take a 22-yard shot? And keep in mind, this is before double parallel limb bows and everything else. You don't have that accurate of equipment. You don't. Unless you're a damn good shot, you're not shooting over 20 yards, I remember when I got 30, and that was something, and still. Well, anyway, I knew in my head, I'm like, dude, I need a couple more minutes. I need a couple more minutes of light. I need a couple more minutes of light. And I was stressing out so bad. And then something hit me and everything just died. I just went into this complete freaking, you know what you're talking about earlier about that mode as a Native American or something. This thing, this aura came over me and I was just like, it's a deer. Shoot it in the lungs. And everything calmed down. And I remember in that split second, it might only taken 2 seconds for that thought and everything to happen. He turns and walks right down that run. And he's going to come right here in the bottom of the creek, which is pretty rocky and stuff, but he's going to come right here broadside. I turned. I got completely ready. I didn't have a single bit of buck fever. Everything like regressed. And I pulled back and all hell broke loose because now I can't see him. And why? Because the creek doesn't have snow because all the water. Bro, so all I'm seeing is brown on brown and a white belly and a dark chocolate rack and a neck patch. And I can't tell you guys the anxiety that kicked in. I couldn't believe what was happening, that I was presented with this opportunity of a lifetime from the Lord. And it just happened so quickly that I remember just going belly up, belly up. But I just kept saying white belly. In my head, I was like, find the white belly, look up. Then I looked up, there's a neck. If I could hit between the white patch there and the white patch of the belly underneath them somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm good. If I can just get an arrow in that thick part of the body, at this point, I'm putting it in. And I let it loose and crack. Only to see him bound up on this knoll as if it was in a movie. And turn around and look at me and snort for 30 minutes. Dude, 30 minutes. I mean, by that time he was 75 yards away. I mean, when he did that, but he's sitting there doing that. And it got so bad that like my best friend's dad grabbed me by the neck the year later and told me to shut the F up. And that if I kept talking about it, he wasn't going to hunt with me anymore.
That's great. That's what I was saying. Like their reaction to people, like the deer down here spook. And they're gone. But it's almost like they're kind of curious as at what it is, what's going on.
Well,
there.
I didn't mean to go down that whole story with you. Hopefully, we had a campfire moment there, folks. But here's the thing. Here's where I'm going with all that. That so many years before, then turned into a year that I told Tristan I had the spot that I'm saving, which was, we'll call it the buck truck stand from here on out. I told Tristan, I said, we hadn't made it happen this one spot. Come with me. We're going to hang a steer stand in the middle of the day. Long story short, we're not dressed in camo or nothing. I think you had a plaid shirt on or something. And it's down in this deep ravine valley, the same valley, years later. And we go up there and I'm in the tree hanging
it's like 12 o'clock.
12:30.
And it gets dark at 5:45, so it's one of those deals where like, all right, we're gonna make a move midday, and then yeah, as quick as you could. You got out of the deer stand at like 9:30, 10 o'clock. By the time you get there, it's 12:30, right? Mm-hmm. We're not. I had a t-shirt on. Tristan. I mean, we didn't have white t-shirts on, but I think Tristan had some kind of a plaid colored shirt, like a blue and black or something like that. And I said, I'm sitting up there hanging the tree stand, and the hills are so high, steep next to you that. Yep. Something standing even with you, you're going to be blended in from the hill. Yep. And we're sitting there, and I look at Tristan, and I go, don't move. And he's like, what? I look up, and here comes this 140 to 145 inch 10-point. Comes straight down this hill, right into the valley. I'm sitting there holding on to the tree stand, 15, 18 feet in the air, and we're just frozen. I just remember thinking, like, man, is there a bow around?
Yeah, we didn't have our bows with us. And again, that's an equipment thing. Had I had a saddle, I probably would have had my bow with me.
Right.
All right, but we were taking straight steel ladder sticks.
Heavy ass.
Heavy as shit, man. Gorilla ladder stand. Nothing against gorilla, but they're heavy, you know. And this deer comes down 20 yards right across the creek, looks right at Tristan and just stares at him.
Rubs its hocks and pees.
Rubs its hocks, pees, and makes a scrape right there.
Yeah.
And and I'm looking at Tristan, looking at this deer, going, this deer is in such a rut craze. It has no idea what's going on.
It like looked through us. It wasn't even looking at us.
No, dude, it was
weird.
like he had a blank stare in his eye, like a freaking diamondback rattlesnake. Serious, just like see through it. Like where's your soul?
Yeah.
You know, well, anyway, it turns around and walks straight up the way it came and left. So we finish the stand. I go, I'm going to kill that deer tomorrow. And long story short, 25 hours to the minute, that deer came down that hill. I shot it with an expandable broadhead. I'll never shoot expandable broadheads again. It hit him right in the side. The arrow came straight out the guts. I don't know what happened. It was an incredibly long blood trail over 2 days. We let it sit overnight, all that stuff, and never retrieved the deer. So then I tell Tristan, I go, I got the spot, the truck spot. And I waited till the last couple days that we were going to be there and snuck down in there and put that stand up. And that's how that double split G2's on the wall right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I know that's a long story, but how many times you're not going to hear very many like that.
Well, it kind of just comes back to like what we were talking about, the bear hunting. Like it's kind of, I call it that, like your toolkit, you know, you
talked about that 40 something years of bow hunting experience around you on public land.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, the more you're out there, the more you're going to learn traffic and what to expect, and doesn't matter where you are in the country, what you're hunting, you're going to figure it out. So,
and I've got 100 spots like that. I mean, from over, not like that, but just over the years that you learn, you know. And we deal with the same thing, duck hunting, you know, like Tristan, when we're out there hunting timber or something, you know, we've been with somebody, it's like, oh yeah, see that mark on that tree and the water's real low and we're looking at a mark that's at our eyeballs. There's like, yeah, that's when this one Hoosier from out of town one time smashed his boat and you know, that kind of knowledge, you know, so.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just a matter of getting out there. I mean, you know, the more you're out there, like Tristan said, the more you're out there, the more you're going to learn, and eventually, you know, the more successful you'll be. And you know, like I keep saying, you got to put it all together. You got to remember everything you've learned and put it to practice.
So with the Illinois trip this year, when are you doing that?
So I'm planning the week before November, the 16th through the 22nd. I'll be up there.
The week, the third
Christmas.
Wait, the third week of November or the week before November?
The week before, the third week of November.
Oh yeah. Week
before Thanksgiving.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, that's a good time, dude. Like, I mean, you know that, but it's
right before shotgun season.
Yeah, and we've had situations.
Right.
Yep. And sometimes, like, the rut, it's weird. Like, sometimes, like, we always try to go at least to the northern spot the second week in November, but sometimes we've hit it perfect, and then sometimes it's like you're a week late.
Yep.
Last year it was perfect. I mean, I got there a little later in the day and got set up for the evening, and I mean, it took an hour, and I already had a buck on a hot doe. All it takes is a hot doe.
Yep,
that's right.
Did not care that I was there. You know, just so focused on that doe, kept her pinned down in the ditch for an hour in front of me, just circling her, pushing her back down in the ditch. And I was like, this is it. I've been here 2 hours and it's incredible.
That makes it worth the trip right there, you know?
Yeah. The rest of the week. Yeah. And the rest of the week was full of it. You know, and then going back, he's talking about those ravines or the cliffs, the 500-600 drop in elevation. I've watched deer climb rock ridges like goats. I mean, it was crazy. You know, slip right by. They can hop up in a little crack in the ridge, the rocks, and they go right up through it and slip.
Bro, I'd
right
do the
by
same shit if hunters were trying to kill me.
yeah. It was a total different experience for me. Being, that's the first time I've hunted out of state for deer.
Oh man,
And,
Good for you. You picked a good one for it.
It was incredible. Yeah, I'm excited about this season. I've had a slow start. I didn't get to do much preseason scouting stuff, but this past weekend I got out and got to put my feet on the ground quite a bit, and it was good to run into a bear, see one. I probably just made the wrong move, but it was good. I'm excited, getting pumped up, and ready to get back out there. Hopefully I can come across a good deer, but yeah, I've had my focus on bear until Illinois, so
that kind of got you fired back up.
yeah.
Hey, you know what? If y'all didn't catch this, because it just took a minute for me it to hit me, really, was the whole thing, that rant I went on for a minute. It's because of one hot doe. I just want to be, really, no shit. I'm sitting here thinking,
You need to make that shirt.
so many years later, that deer is on my wall as a result of one hot doe.
Well, it's probably like 3 hot does to have 3 of those.
I know, but it all started with one hot doe. It really did.
Yep. Well, man,
I wish the bear. I wish we could.
Do you get hot sows?
Well, not during the season. Not during the
he
season.
said something like May.
Oh, I thought
Out of
Georgia
the-
season was all season long. I'm sorry.
No.
I'm just kidding.
So bear starts up with deer, yeah.
Well, real quick, before we get off here, I just had one quick question that I forgot to ask earlier. Is
Sure.
when do bears up here, do they have, like traditionally, don't bears have their young while they're hibernating in a den? Like in the north? But here's the thing. I had a bear and 2 cubs, little bitty cubs. I'll send you the video I'll send it to you, bud. But they're little. They couldn't have been, goodness.
This is in Florida, though.
Yeah, in Florida. A few weeks old, but it's during deer season. And I thought that kind of thing happened in the spring, So do you know how that works up here?
No, I don't. I don't even.
Obviously, we can't hunt during it, so.
I don't know how long they even carry young, but I do know that once the season starts, I've come across sow and cubs a few times, and they're real little as the season starts up. So I couldn't imagine it, being very long before the season that they're having.
Probably
I don't know.
Similar to deer, I guess, with the timeline. Maybe.
Yeah, probably.
Well, I guess if they're maybe they turn around quicker,
Yeah, it seems like it. Yeah.
Huh. And one of the last thing that I kind of had is, we're doing this segment on the podcast where I don't know if you've ever heard of Thru Outdoors, Dylan, but they basically connect. They're like Airbnb for hunters. Literally everything.
And back in support.
Yeah, literally everything from like a gator hunt to like elk to duck, whatever.
Caribou, whatever.
Yeah, they you can get on there and find a hunt for it. But what they also do is they do like for an outfitter, like they basically will do all of your scheduling, all your invoicing, all that shit for an outfitter.
What did you say the name? What's the name of it again?
It's called Venku. VENKU. But the reason I bring it up is because we started doing this segment with them because it's like their whole thing is like booking your next like dream hunt or whatever. So the segment we did is like, kind of tell us about like one of your favorite hunting stories, and it's kind of presented by them as the whole nutshell of it.
Okay.
So yeah, just like a recent favorite story. I know we made you tell the bear one, so I mean that might have taken it away.
That was a good one, and being. Like I said, I didn't make the greatest shot. I still killed the bear, didn't make the greatest shot. So I kind of, I want to get out there and do that right, make a good shot on a bear and just chase another one.
Mm-hmm.
But turkey, man, like I mentioned earlier, nobody taught me how to turkey hunt or bear But I've killed three toms in the last 3 seasons, and something about turkey, man. First turkey I killed, I chased a group of birds around for probably a week and a half before I could put everything together and get in the right spot. This past season, the buddies and I set up a trip to kind of camp out and just do it all weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And the morale was kind of low. Everybody try to get everybody pumped up. We're running from plot to plot through the woods, and gets discouraging pretty quick. We packed up early on a Sunday, and we had a pretty good drive out of the WMA. So a lot of land around us still huntable, and I was like, you know what? I haven't seen this before. I haven't been to this place. I just want to go look at it. I want to look at it and see. And long road led to a food plot. And I went on through the food plot, and there actually was a kind of a roadbed beyond the food plot. And it had been burnt. It had just been burnt below the knoll around the food plot had just been burnt. And I just sat down, I didn't see any fresh sign, nothing like that. But I just sat down and did a little bit of calling, and I tried to be so disciplined and just not call too much. You get there, you sit there, you get bored, and you just want to do something.
Mm-hmm.
But I just tried to keep everything in mind, and I would call subtly, a little different here and there, not too often. And
maybe once every 3 minutes or so.
Even,
no, I know what you mean.
That's probably about 20 minutes. 20 minutes between calls, but maybe an hour and a half just sitting there, scrolling through my phone, whatever. I had a tom, and this video is on my Instagram, but had a tom just kind of pop up over the ridge by me, and I was not ready at all. Gun kind of pointing up in the air on my knees, and it probably took him 5 minutes to get from initially popping up over the ridge to in front of me, and he had to pass a few trees. He went behind a few trees till where I was going to shoot, and every tree he went behind, I would ease the gun up just a little more, and try to get on him. But that was pretty incredible. Having some doubts, and then just kind of having doubting yourself and where you're at, and it was opening weekend, a ton of pressure, so just kind of sticking to what you knew, what I learned, and applying
perseverance, dude,
and it working out. That felt good. I know turkeys are tough to kill, and eastern turkeys at that, right? But sticking it out and applying what I knew, and it coming together. It's kind of like that aura that y'all were talking about, when everything's just working out and it comes together. I'd have to say that was probably one of my favorite hunts.
That's
turkey.
Awesome.
Turkey's is a good time. I enjoy hunting turkey.
You're that guy. I love you. You know why? Because I'm that guy, and I'm the guy that says, nope, if we can hunt public land till noon for ducks, we're doing it. And everybody's wanting to leave since 8:30. All right? I'm like, dude,
last spot.
There's one last thing we haven't done. And honestly, that came to fruition on a video one time that we had that the one time that it actually worked. But it was, I just think that's so important, because at the end of the day, isn't it about just, Tristan, you said it in one of our videos one time. You just said, it's luck, but it's not just about luck. It's about putting yourself in a position to have luck.
Right, 100%.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you did. It was just, how many times did
being deserving of the it's almost like the same thing with you being able to sneak up on that sow, just putting yourself in enough situations to have quote
Success.
unquote luck, or success.
Yeah, which is a hard thing to come by. I mean, especially with the younger generation that needs that. And frankly, that's the whole passion behind a lot of what we do is just, is that the younger generation, hunting's not right there at your fingertips, and you can't make those things happen immediately like you'd like. And it teaches you patience and perseverance. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, right on, man. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with us. I know it was, I said it'd be about an hour, but that when we're having a good time talking with folks, it tends to be a little bit longer. So
that's right. So what we're trying to tell you is you did one hell of a job.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
We enjoyed you.
Hunting. Thank y'all.
Absolutely,
yeah, we can't wait
man.
till we can get out in the woods with you, man. Even if it's just sitting around the fire and having a beer.
Yeah, that'd be great. We'll keep in touch.
Yeah, let us know, man. Text me, I guess we're friends on Facebook now, so I'll keep tuned in and see how that I trip goes. I hope you have some success.
Absolutely, I appreciate that, and I hope y'all have a good season as well.
All right, brother.
Man.
Be safe,
Thank
man.
you again for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
I've been southbound, I've been hellbound, riding on the midnight train. Going too fast now, think I'll slow down, standing in the pouring rain.